here with Miami coach Anthony Noreen ahead of this weekend's home series against Omaha, and we'll take some questions.
First off, Arizona State this past weekend, a split decision. So you get the overtime win Friday. Saturday, tough 1-0 loss, but you guys played so well. So kind of your thoughts as you look back on that past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what playoff hockey feels like and looks like. Obviously, for us going into the weekend, I think when we were sitting here last Tuesday, when you asked what area do we want to be better, and the biggest thing we said was defending. And we knew we needed to defend well. Obviously, they had the highest scoring line in the league, and certainly the hottest line in the league, in the country, and one of the best offenses in the country. And we felt from a defending perspective, and not just the goals, but chances, shots, everything, penalty kill. We felt that was probably our best weekend start to finish defending. It's kind of the way the game goes. Sometimes you got to find a way to put the puck in the net. But I thought Matteo was tremendous both nights, as were their goaltenders, obviously. But two really hard-fought, spirited, physical. I think it's a lot of times, the more you see each other, the more that ramps up. And obviously the more you get to this time of the season, it starts to become really clear how important those games, those points, those matchups, your days are a little bit numbered here as you go. So you're trying to take every advantage of it. And again, I thought it was a weekend, through which we had a lot of growth, through which, again, there's areas we still feel like we could be better. It's not going to get any easier from here. We know that.
Not going to ask you to comment on the refereeing in and itself, but you had a goal taken off of the board in Saturday night's game for a missed stoppage. I didn't know that was a reviewable play in a situation like that. What was it that the officials told you in that situation? Did it really impact what was going on in that whole series of play to have a goal taken away?
Well, so missed stoppages in the offensive zone are reviewable. So what I mean by that is, like, a guy can't, if there's a hand pass in the neutral zone and then it winds up continuing on and then it's down in the offensive zone, you can't challenge that. But if something happens in the offensive zone and the puck stays in the offensive zone, it is reviewable. For us, that's the first time we've played in an arena that has that rounded glass by the benches. And the rule is if it hits that and comes back in play, it's a stoppage. I guess my question was, at what point, because it's rounded, does that become in the rink versus out of the rink? And I guess that's where the gray area was for me a little bit. But according to our, the head of officials and the people making those decisions, it was the right call. So again, there's nothing for us to argue there. Right. Obviously, you didn't love it, but it was based on the rules. It was the right call.
Was the review clear enough? I mean, the only review I was able to see was on the video board.
Yeah, that's the only one we saw as well. And again, we were just told based on what they saw and based on the rules, it was the right call. And I know it feels like there's been a lot of those, but it's part of it. Obviously, good call by them. By reviewing it for challenging it in the first place. We still got to find a way. You got to score a goal if you want to win a hockey game, and we got to find a way to score a goal there.
You mentioned the defense, and I want to go back to that over the weekend. Everything seemed to click for you guys on defense. You surrendered a few more goals the previous few games, and just really were able to take huge strides this past weekend. What can you point to that really made that so effective for you?
Yeah, I thought it started with just a choice by our guys. Obviously, that was a major point of emphasis for us going into that weekend. Leo with the D, Troy with the forwards, throughout practice. We showed some video meetings with that stuff in there, and really just as a group, just defending harder, better, with more detail. And then I thought, the next step of that was, Saturday, it was, as far as numbers, the best job we did of finding a way to block shots in front of Matteo as well. So, again, that's something we're going to have to do. It's hard to create offense. It's hard to score goals at this level, given other teams are focusing on the same things. Goaltending in this league is tremendous. So you've got to defend really well and take a pride in that if you're going to have a chance. And again, like I said, we had a heightened awareness. We knew, especially with their top line and their top guys and the way they've been scoring and the way their power play had been clicking, that those were key areas that were going to give us a chance. And again, it's just, you saw you're on the road in 2 NCHC games, and you certainly feel like you have a chance right till the very end in both nights.
You mentioned the goaltending, perfect segue. You got another really good goaltender coming in this weekend that you're going to face, and scoring a bit at a premium last weekend. What's it going to take to solve him and to put some more goals up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be very similar as far as we're going to have to defend well. I mean, they're a team that attacks really well out of transition. They have a ton of speed. Their power play has been really good, so we're going to have to defend well. And then, again, we felt like there were some little areas within our game to maybe give our guys a better chance to execute in those situations and to score. And we're going to keep working on it, and we're going to keep harping it, and we're going to keep showing them detail in video and practicing it in skill sessions, practicing it when we go, playing out drills and staying on pucks and giving ourselves second and third opportunities. That's all we could do. And I think there's, we've got a group that is hungry for more information. And obviously you go through a weekend like that where you feel like you play, so hard and so well Saturday night, but you don't score a goal. That usually a group is looking for answers. Okay, and you don't have an answer that's going to solve the problem, but part of it is, hey, you need to stick to doing these things because we believe these things will give you a chance long term. Part of it is, hey, this little detail, this little area in this situation, maybe it'll give you a better chance to put the puck in the back of the net the next time. And it's just what we do. And listen, we'd be saying the same thing if we scored 10 goals over the weekend. Like, we're just going to keep harping on our habits, over everything and keep practicing them the right way.
Penalty kill has been outstanding here starting the second half of the season. A perfect 7 for 7 this past weekend. It was 5 penalty kills Friday night, but you cut that down to just 2 on Saturday night. One of those, though, a 5-minute major. How important was that penalty kill, especially that 5-minute major?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a chance both nights, for sure. The first night, I think both teams were probably in similar situations where night one, we didn't love the fact, and I thought there were penalties. It's not like, I thought they were bad calls. Like, we take 3 in a row to start. Night 2, they take 2 in a row to start. And, those situations are huge. And obviously, I think, we fought through kind of their push in the first period on Friday night. And then I thought it really led to our game the rest of the weekend. The next 5 periods, I just thought we were much better. We were tighter. We were cleaner. I thought we generated a lot of momentum off the kill both nights. I mean, especially you look at our best push offensively on Saturday was directly after the 5-minute kill. And we had a shift. We were in their zone for 2+ minutes, and it was, within a minute after that kill ended. So I think that's, those are the ebbs and flows of a game where you got to bend and not break, and you've got to lean on the guys that are killing. You've got to generate momentum off it. You got to frustrate their best players, and then hope you could kind of jump on them right after.
You obviously don't want to. It's not a goal to put your guys in an overtime situation when you go into a game, but the fact that you've now played in 6 overtime games as you're getting down the final stretch of the season, how much does that experience help to build this team and to prepare them for this final run?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we put a premium on from the very beginning of the season, given how many times we were in that situation last year, and just knowing how tight the standings are and knowing, hey, we were a team that was hoping we were going to push and that it was going to really matter this year. So it's something we've talked about. It's something we've practiced. The more times you're in it, I think the more it makes sense in the concepts and things like that. And, I think it's like anything else when you've worked on it and you believe you have a plan, and then you get a chance and that you go out and it works. And so now the next time you're in it, you feel like, okay, like, we've been here before. We've done this before. Let's just go do what we do. There's a real calmness and confidence on our bench when we go into those overtime situations. No matter if it's us scoring late, Cass scores in the last 10 seconds, or it's us giving one up late and blowing a lead. Like, I think sometimes that can kind of tilt the momentum one way or the other of kind of how it got to that point. Whereas I think it's like clean slate when we've gotten overtime, and it's like, okay, here's our plan. Here's who's going to go take the draw. Here's what our changes are going to look like. Here's what we're going to do when we got it. Here's what we're going to do when we don't have it. I think there's just a belief up and down our bench, which is a good feeling because, again, those are massive points. They're massive points when you get to that part of the game, and from a national perspective, those are wins and losses. It's not an overtime loss, like it is in the NHL where it doesn't show up in the L column, like in the national scale. That's a win or that's a loss for us. So it's huge.
One final thing, depth of your team. So no Matteo Giampa this past weekend, but yet still had 30. You generated 37 shots, I think, on Saturday night. So talking maybe about the depth of being able to move some guys around, moving Deputy up to that top spot or that top line and other guys.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, you miss Matteo for sure. In just what he brings, and obviously what he's been able to do so far this season for us. But part of being a team, and this is just what happens, like guys are going to go down, guys are going to come out. We're never going to use that as an excuse. Guys need to step up. And I thought it allowed for, we talked before the game, I think on Saturday, about, they gave Bradley Walker a lot more minutes 5-on-5 and gave him an opportunity to show what he could do. And I thought then we got some really good shifts Saturday out of like Blake Messenberg and Stupka and Mikan, and like those guys created some offense. So I think it's, again, it's not the situation you're in, it's how you react to it. And we are going to continue to need different guys to step up in different situations. I mean, that's what hockey is. Your best player, I mean, maybe you have a defenseman some nights that's playing 26, 27 minutes. That's still more than half the game where other guys got to be out there. And for forwards, that number's way lower. So we want to be a team. And I think, without a doubt, when we've been at our best is when we've been able to roll specifically up front. And I think, Troy's got such a good feel for this of like when we're going, he's switching those lines, like to get 4 lines going and then, gets your, maybe guys that are more of a scoring line, more fresh and more time. And you don't feel like you're going to the well with so many guys. Everybody's involved. Everyone's engaged. And I think when we've done that and we've been able to roll them over and we could trust everyone that's going to go out and do their job and they're going, like, I think that's when we've certainly been at our best as a team. And if that's going to happen, it can't just be the same 12 guys or the same 6 or 7 D. It's got to be those guys that are fighting and pushing to get in the lineup, and then when they get in, they got to take advantage of it. So hopefully we're healthy down the stretch, but I mean, this is hockey, and especially when you get to this time of season, you're probably never going to be. So different guys got to step up on different nights.
Here with Miami goaltender Matteo Drobac, NCHC goaltender of the week, heading into this week's home series against Omaha, and we'll take some questions.
Hey, Matteo, first off, congratulations, goaltender of the week. What's an honor like that and an award like that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good feeling. Ultimately, would have liked to get the wins this weekend, but, at the end of the day, it's still kind of a nice thing to take away from what could have been, hopefully a better weekend, but yeah.
So 2 goals allowed. I mean, that's great. So what was it that you guys did? Obviously, the backstop of the backstop, but your defense out in front of you. Kind of what went into just allowing a very high-scoring team like ASU only 2 goals?
Kind of starts with, the players. I think, we played both nights, a pretty, solid game. Guys were blocking shots, clearing pucks. Any second chances, it's pretty much gone, before the other team got a whack at it. So kind of starts there, and then ultimately, I felt like I was playing some of my good hockey and keeping control of the puck, and yeah, so it kind of the things I see.
Semi-good might be a little bit of an understatement. You had a great season so far, but it seems like you really got in the zone. You really were seeing the puck well. What was it that you were able to step up in such a big way this weekend?
I think some of it has to do with probably the pressure of the situation. We're heading into a point of the season where we want to get the points right now, especially against teams that we feel like we can catch up to in the standings with ASU and kind of some of those teams. So, wanted to get the wins this weekend, like I said, so that was a big factor. And, just a great team game in front of me as well.
A lot of that defense, a lot of the goaltending and really defense stepped up in a big way, limited shots the second night. A lot of that starts with communication, especially from the goalie. It's something that you can't really necessarily hear in the stands. The fans maybe don't get a chance to hear, but what's that communication been like building this season, and how are you able to communicate so well with those guys out in front?
Yeah, I think that all begins with relationships off the ice as well. All those guys in front of me, I'm good friends with. It's not just just teammates and saying hi at the rink. It goes deeper than that. So I think it's a thing for them as well. They want to help me out on the ice and kind of get those big stops, and they know those oftentimes can be the difference in winning and losing a game as well. I think they were looking out for me, and I make sure to give them a good tap on the bottom to say thank you.
And you talk about friendships with the guys out in front of you. You guys were all pretty much new coming in here. There's so many new faces at the beginning of the season. We're now 3+ months into this season. What's the difference between maybe September, October at the beginning of the season and where you guys are at now with that relationship?
Yeah, it's just obviously when guys come in here, plenty of us, we're kind of new to the whole experience here and kind of getting to know each other, and I feel like that bond has just kind of grown over the season. Just kind of as any relationship would, we're all good friends, and that bond gets stronger and stronger the more we play together. So I think it just kind of boils down to that.
You are also one of the CHL guys that played CHL, but the unique part is you also had a year of college hockey in Canada and then made that change. What was your path? What was kind of that mindset of when your CHL career was done, playing in the OHL, and then getting a chance to play U Sports in Canada, but maybe knowing that option to come to the States to play college hockey?
Yeah, once my OHL career finished, I didn't even expect this to become a reality, just because the original rule was that it wasn't allowed. And then kind of was at school last year, and then heard some talks about this kind of happening. So kind of conversations began, and I kind of want to pursue that as a path to transfer here, and kind of worked out really well, and I'm really enjoying the school, the whole experience here. So it's been really good so far.
You can go back to the Friday night game, 6th overtime game that you've had this season, and what's that like when it's 3-on-3? What you feel like you're on an island? How different is that when it's 3-on-3?
Yeah, I mean, you can expect some pretty high danger chances, but I mean, luckily, I don't even think I had to face a shot that OT game, so that was a pretty kind of nice feeling. Just kind of got to go out there, go for a little skate, and then come back. But yeah, I mean, it was yeah, it's just, sometimes you're going to have to end up facing shots, and the way my guys, bailing me out sometimes, I feel like I'm going to have to make a save when it comes down to it. So just kind of staying ready. They can get rushes quick with that's just the way 3-on-3 works. So yeah, just kind of staying ready, and if you have to make the save, be ready for it.
Staying ready in overtime, it's a goaltender mindset. So tell me about the mindset of a goalie, what made you want to be a goalie, because they call it goalie nation, or we hear that. You guys are a unique breed.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I kind of wanted to start playing goalie was just I was younger, and both my parents are from Croatia, so it was more of a soccer family, and I was playing that when I was younger, and then at school, I think my best friend at the time was also a goalie. So we would kind of throw on the road hockey gear at school, and then we'd play on both ends. And I was yeah, it's actually pretty fun. Yeah. And then I asked my parents to give it a try, and then yeah, I started playing when I was eight or so. And yeah, I just kind of went on from there, and I haven't looked back since. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I think it's a good feeling, because ultimately, in a sense, you have the potential to win or lose a game, and I kind of enjoy that pressure. So yeah, I think that. Yeah.
And the way that things worked out in the goalie room this year with Shika not getting the eligibility, what was your kind of thought process coming in here, knowing that there was going to be a guy like Shika, and then everything that he went through, you had to be ready all the time. You got every minute for the first half of the season, and now that Mattis is here, what's that kind of goalie room experience for all of you guys, including Shika?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of same thing. We're at the end of the day, we're all teammates, and we're all, there was 3 or 4 of us, and there's only one net to play. So at the end of the day, we're all teammates, but we're also best friends, supporting each other in every kind of direction everything went. Unfortunately, Shika couldn't make it out to play, but I mean, I still talk to him all the time, and he actually just sent me a message yesterday about the goalie of the week thing, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, so I mean, it kind of boils down to being friends off the ice, and yeah, just supporting each other, whoever gets the chance to play.